Today we will learn about central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. We will ask ourselves questions and we will find the answers and explanation of it that will clear all our confusion about nervous system, and we understand the topic crystal clear. What is central nervous system, CNS, and what is peripheral nervous system, PNS? The central nervous system and peripheral nervous system are the two main parts of the nervous system. The CNS includes the brain and spinal cord, while the PNS consists of all other nerves in the body that branch out from the CNS. What is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system's function? The central nervous system and peripheral nervous system work together to form the nervous system, which is responsible for controlling and coordinating all bodily activities. The central nervous system processes information and sends instructions, while the peripheral nervous system relays those instructions to the rest of the body and sends sensory information back to the CNS. What is central nervous system consists of? The CNS consists of the brain and spinal cord. What is the function of central nervous system? It is responsible for processing and coordinating all bodily functions, including thoughts, emotions, movements, and sensations. What is peripheral nervous system consists of? The peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves that outside the brain and spinal cord, connecting the central nervous system to the rest of the body. It includes cranial nerves, 12 pairs, and spinal nerves, 31 pairs. These major nerves branch out into smaller and smaller nerves, eventually reaching every part of our body. This branching is why the total number of nerve fibers is so high. Let's get ready. The human body contains an estimated 7 trillion nerves. They're like the body's wiring system, connecting the brain and spinal cord to every part of our body. Understanding how many nerves are in the human body helps us understand its complexity. Each of these nerves plays a crucial role in our body's function. They allow us to move, feel, and interact with the world. The PNS is further divided into the somatic nervous system, controlling voluntary movement, and the autonomic nervous system, regulating involuntary functions. What is the function of peripheral nervous system? The peripheral nervous system acts as a bridge, relaying messages between the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, and the rest of the body, including your muscles. It is a network of nerves that connects the central nervous system to all your limbs and organs, allowing the brain to control movement and receive sensory information from your body. It includes sensory nerves, carry information from the body to the CNS motor nerves, send instructions from the CNS to the muscles and organs. Autonomic nerves control involuntary bodily functions, such as digestion, heart rate, and breathing. How we understand about those two systems. To understand the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system first, we need to know the structure of neuron cells. A neuron structure consists of three main parts: dendrites, a cell body, soma, and an axon. Dendrites receive information which travels to the cell body where it is processed. From the cell body, the axon transmits the signal away from the neuron to other cells at a junction called the synapse. What is tracts? Axons of neurons in the CNS are bundled into tracts. The central nervous system consists of billions of neurons in the brain and spinal cord. What is ascending tracts and descending tracts? Ascending tracts carry sensory information up to the brain, while descending tracts carry motor commands down from the brain to the spinal cord. What is the function of ascending and descending tracts? Ascending tracts are responsible for sensations like touch, pain, temperature, and proprioception, while descending tracts control voluntary movement, posture, and reflexes. Think of ascending and descending as vertical, going up and down through the spinal cord. What is nerves? The peripheral nervous system consists of all nerves and receptors outside of the brain and spinal cord. The axons of neurons in the PNS are bundled into nerves. That bundles of axons in the peripheral nervous system are called nerves. These cable-like structures transmit electrical signals between the brain, spinal cord, and the rest of the body. What is afferent nerves? Afferent nerves are sensory nerves that carry impulses towards the central nervous system. What is efferent nerves? Efferent nerves are motor nerves that carry impulses away from the CNS to muscles and glands. Think of afferent as arriving with sensory information, and efferent as exiting with motor commands. Just like arriving, exiting. What is the example of afferent nerves function? Sensory impulses travel from sensory organs to the central nervous system. You see something and the information go to the brain. How does it happen? The visual pathway from the eye to the brain. When you see something, the light is captured by your retina, which converts it into electrical signals. These signals travel along the optic nerve to the thalamus, a relay station in the brain. From there, the signals are sent to the primary visual cortex in the cerebrum, where the information is processed and you perceive an image. That's an example of our everyday life. After getting messages from sensory receptors in eyes, skin, ears. While motor impulses travel from the CNS to muscles or glands to create an action. Sensory neurons are responsible for detecting stimuli, like touch, taste, or smell, and carrying the information inward, whereas motor neurons are responsible for carrying the processed commands outward to effectors. We already talked about how central nervous system works in the previous section. How many types of efferent nerves are there? The two main types of efferent nerves in the peripheral nervous system are somatic motor nerves and autonomic motor nerves. What is the function of somatic motor nerves? Somatic motor nerves control voluntary movements by innervating skeletal muscles. What is the functions of autonomic motor nerves? The autonomic motor nerves regulate involuntary functions by controlling smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, and glands. Its functions is to regulate involuntary and automatic bodily functions, such as heart rate, digestion, and breathing. The autonomic nervous system is further divided into the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, each with its own efferent nerves. We will learn this next chapter and it's very easy. Can central nervous system function in the body without the peripheral nervous system? Without the PNS, the CNS would be unable to receive signals about the environment or its own body, and it could not send signals to the muscles and organs to cause a response. If we ask ourselves, can the peripheral nervous system function without the central nervous system? The answer will be no too. The peripheral nervous system cannot function without the central nervous system. Its primary role is to connect the CNS to the rest of the body by sending and receiving signals. The PNS transmits information to the CNS for processing and carries out commands from the CNS. Without the CNS, the PNS cannot interpret complex sensory information or generate a conscious response. The peripheral nervous system cannot function without the central nervous system. The two systems are completely interdependent for proper function. The CNS needs the sensory input from the PNS to understand what is happening inside and outside the body. The PNS needs the motor commands from the CNS to direct the body's responses. Example: when you touch a hot stove, your PNS sends a signal of pain to the CNS. The CNS, spinal cord, immediately sends a reflex signal back through the PNS to your muscles, telling them to pull your hand away. The CNS is not able to do this without the nerve pathways provided by the PNS. If for any reason there is damage in central nervous system, it will unable to connect with peripheral nervous system. Example is, a stroke damages the central nervous system, CNS, by cutting off blood supply to parts of the brain, causing neuronal injury or death. A stroke damages the central nervous system, CNS, by causing neuronal death and disrupting neural networks, leading to a loss of communication pathways with the peripheral nervous system, PNS, rather than a physical severing of the nerves themselves. This disruption results in impaired sensory and motor functions and significant systemic changes. Real-life examples. If for any reason there is damage in central nervous system, it will unable to connect with peripheral nervous system. Paralysis results from a disruption of nerve signals caused by damage to either the central nervous system, CNS, which includes the brain and spinal cord, or the peripheral nervous system, PNS, which includes the nerves that branch out from the spinal cord to the rest of the body. A key factor in permanent paralysis is the CNS's limited ability to repair itself. Unlike peripheral nerves, spinal cord cells do not regenerate effectively after significant trauma, leading to permanent functional loss. A major difference is that the PNS has an intrinsic ability to regenerate and repair itself. This means that some forms of PNS-related paralysis can be temporary, or function may be restored through medical intervention and rehabilitation, which is generally not the case for CNS injuries. You might hear therapy among older or injured people. Therapy in the context of fixing temporary loss of peripheral nervous system, PNS, signals generally refers to physical, rehabilitative therapies and electrical stimulation. The PNS has an inherent capacity to regenerate after injury. Physical therapy, PT, aids this process by improving blood flow to the affected area through movement and exercise, which helps deliver essential nutrients and oxygen for nerve healing. The nervous system is very complex, but if you understand it clearly all the way, and there is clear answer of yes or no for all your questions, that means we understand it clearly. In anatomy and physiology, Right after learn any topics, try to see what is the live example of it. It could be anyone around your family circle you saw in long time ago in hospital or any care. Then you can visualize the topic and everything makes senses. That's all for today. Please subscribe to support my channel and share to friends. Thank you.